Hello, Star Wars fans. Today, I'm going to talk about a period of time just before The Last Jedi hit theaters, and how Disney already knew how bad Episode 8 really was and were running damage control before The Last Jedi's opening. Disney has been making movies for nearly 100 years now, and I think it's fair to expect the company to be able to detect a clunker before it releases. And there's a few pieces of evidence to support the educated guess of Disney knowing they had a stinker on their hands. They negotiated a deal that took advantage of theaters. Cinemas had to run The Last Jedi for twice as long on their main screens as compared to the normal 2 weeks. Disney also negotiated a bigger cut of the ticket sales, and if the theaters didn't keep to the agreement, Disney would take an additional 5% cut of the ticket sales, up to 70% instead of the usual 55%. It seems apparent that Disney was trying to milk as much money as possible from the movie. Maybe the extra cut would have been understandable by itself, but in combination with the forced 4-week runtime, it seems apparent that Disney was taking extreme measures to try and squeeze profit out of The Last Jedi. And the only reason they would have to do that is if they were afraid the movie wasn't going to bring in as much profit as expected in comparison to The Force Awakening, and were trying to somehow generate more revenue to please their shareholders. And the only reason that Disney would be afraid of the movie not bringing in as much profit is because it was a bad movie. A week later, after that article talking about renegotiated deals, Disney announced that they liked Rian Johnson's take on Star Wars so much that they were going to give him his own trilogy. Obviously, in hindsight, it was another move to generate more hype than was deserved by The Last Jedi. It was damage control in an attempt to trick the Star Wars fanbase into believing Episode 8 was going to be a good addition to Disney Star Wars. And it kind of worked because the movie made $1.3 billion worldwide. But the audience quickly wised up, and the movie ended up making $750 million, less than The Force Awakens. Those two articles kind of show the disingenuous lengths Disney will go to generate money on a dud. They literally said that the director of a bad movie did so good that he's getting his own trilogy, in order to trick more fans into showing it for the opening weekend, before everyone got the word out about how bad Episode 8 really was. And then there's all the praise The Last Jedi generated from critics before its release. These critics can obviously see everything we can, yet they still rated it highly. Why would they do that? Because damage control. It's the only thing that explains the rift between critic and fan ratings. Critics don't want to lose access to their early reviews, and I'm sure Disney gave a light warning to everyone by explaining how all the virtue signaling is a positive thing in today's Western society. And lastly, I want to bring up how in early October 2017, 2 months before The Last Jedi opened, Bob Iger announced his plan to step down as CEO of Disney in the future, which would be right around the time where he could have viewed a near-complete version of Episode 8. Now, that information is not really damage control, but in hindsight, it's simply another sign that Disney knew that Episode 8 was not going to be as good as they hyped it up to be. So yes, in hindsight, it seems so obvious now that Disney knew, and they still know, that Rian Johnson, Lucasfilm, and Kathleen Kennedy created a stinker. They'll deny it to high heavens to save face, but I think we all know better. But the question is, why not simply focus on making a good movie? I plan on discussing that exact topic in my next video. Thanks for listening. Click that like button, and
may the Force be with you.